stranger with her door key. I'm just visiting. Hey guys, Gemini. So y'all know that it's mutable season, just some Florida water here. And I haven't done a reading for you as in a monthly in a while. So now we are going to get into doing that for you. The sun is out. It's a Saturday, so it's time to get to work for you. I just burned a little Palo Santo so that we could ground your energy, okay? So let me go ahead and shuffle the cards, Gemini. What's happening for you? You know, the sun is squaring you right now, so you might be experiencing a little bit of tension, some challenges, or maybe you're overcoming some things too, perhaps, right? You know? Wow, there's the moon, which is kind of energy that opposes you too. Jupiter, the planet that opposes your sign, right, is exalted in the sign that is ruled by the moon. And also the moon is number 18, so that's a 9, which is also relative to Sagittarius. So are you experiencing some emotional are you being motivated by your emotions right now? Which is unlike you, right? So you're having to tap into some energy that is probably like outside of your comfort zone and outside of your normal territory, right? You're going beyond your bounds, or you're being pushed past your limits in terms of understanding something, right? But this is good because spirit, right? Yourself, your emotions, right? You are learning through things. You are learning, and that's pushing you past your limits, right? Beyond the bounds, right? Beyond the margins, okay? And you're realizing that there was more to see, right? Whatever that means. Let me go ahead and lay these cards out, or I'm going to cut them actually, because this is a full monthly, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it 3 times. I'm going to leave the moon there. The moon does talk about hidden things, and it talks about fears from going from one place to another, where that's physically the way that you feel about something, how you philosophize about something, the way that you think about something in terms of where you're going. You might be coming from a place, but that's different than where you're going. You know what I mean? I'm getting that too. I think I just cut this. So let me go ahead and lay these cards out. Right. And it's totally emphasizing what I just said right now. I'm just gonna say that. All right. So this is the challenge. Look. At the bottom of the deck, the Wheel of Fortune, this is talking about growth. It's talking about growth patterns. It's talking about succinct things, right? It's talking about aligning yourself with opportunity and aligning yourself with growth by acknowledging that you see that you have grown and time has changed things for you. You have matured in some kind of way. So now it's like your goals have also matured. Your goals have become something different now. They're no longer just the same things that you have been doing before. You can kind of develop the things that you've already achieved into something else, because it is talking about building, with this being a 10, related to the 10th house of Capricorn, and also related to the 10th month, which is you, right? Actually, no, that's October, sorry. So October is talking about something, the beginning of something, or the closing of something that brings about a new beginning for you, right? So now in the center, let's see what's going on there. And the Wheel of Fortune is like Jupiter, that's Sagittarius. So it's kind of like, optimism, right? Faith, that as well. And the moon is also kind of like echoing that energy of having faith, even through the trials and the tribulations and things being difficult and challenging, and feeling kind of emotionally vulnerable, maybe even exposed, right? Because you're going outside of your comfort zone, but that's okay, Let's see, center. 8 of Pentacles, focusing on your work, the power of staying practical about things. You can always rely on your daily rhythm, strengthening your daily rhythm, strengthening your pattern, strengthening your skill set too, and your mindset with something. So this could be a moment of study for you, right? Because this is Sun in Virgo, which I said we're in a season right now that squares you, and this is Sun in Virgo, which is what we're doing right now. Okay. Um, and the Eight of Pentacles is, it's related to the mind. It's related to the Strength card too. So like, what is motivating you? There's something that you're passionate about, right? That you have to maintain a sense of strength about continuing to do, right? Or producing something, whatever it is that you can make, that you can create, because it is related to the Strength card, right? Focus on your strengths. That's what this is talking about too, right? Because focusing on your strengths is going to allow you to produce the things that you're destined to produce. That's that type of thing, and authenticity as well, being that it's the eight. So you're not trying very hard for this. This is kind of like seemingly effortless, just because it is Virgo, so there's a little bit of adjusting to some new reality for you, because this is opposite the Eight of Cups, right? It's opposite that. So, instead of like leaving something, you're finding reasons to keep at something. You know what I mean? Like that type of thing. Let me see. Let me turn this down a little bit because I don't want you guys to be distracted by that. Yeah. So it's what you're producing. It's what your habits are. Forming some good habits that are going to pay off for you. That type of thing. So that's what you need to focus on. You need to focus on what's going to be more productive, right? Because if you're focusing on what is making you non-productive, right? Then you're just going to get more of that. It's kind of like taking away from what you could be doing. So make sure that you're focusing on that. Don't let yourself get into a place of emotional complacency here, and it take away from what's really important. So think about what's really important here for your own benefit. What's in your best interest. Do that. Focus on your strengths. Increase your skills. Study a little bit more. Maybe you're doing something new. Because it's Virgo, so it's talking about taking something and making it better. So how can you make a product better, or how can you make something that you're doing better? You know what I mean? Or make it even more palatable than before. How can you make something attractive too? Because it's an eight crossing it, the Lord, which is the Emperor, right? Like I said, focus on your strengths. You know what I mean? That's what's gonna bring you fortune, basically, if you think about that, right? It's glowing. But yeah, it talks about also your fears too. So what are you afraid of with this four being here? Because it is related to the death card in some kind of way, just because it is Aries. And Aries, hey, what up? And Aries is, or it's Mars. And Mars is Aries or Scorpio. And the fourth house is Cancer. So you could be dealing with like issues that you're going through with yourself, issues that you might be going through because of how you've been conditioned through your emotional experience, or it could just be also that, how you've been affected by certain aspects of your past that might be creating, restrictions for you right now, right? Because the Emperor, he restricts others, right? He even restricts himself sometimes, right? Because it's talking about control, So you might be, you know, this moon might be here because of the inability to control something. But there is one thing that you can control. This is saying focus on what your strengths are, right? And it's talking about authenticity too here. Focus on those strengths. And what do you want? It's talking about manifesting something that comes through hard work, for sure, right? So, right, where are you putting your time, energy, and effort, right? All right. So let's go ahead and look at the past, Gemini. Exactly, Two of Wands, so changes. This is also Mars and Aries, which right now that is like everything that you see that's happening, like the protests and the police shootings and the fires in California and the explosion in Beirut. Like all of those types of things are like very Mars and Aries, okay? But the Two of Wands does talk about, you know, changes that occur that might be affecting two people, or it might be affecting more than one aspect of your life, or your living situation has changed in the past, right? That or your job, right? It could be your job, your living situation, or a relationship, right? Which includes friendship and family. So something has changed, you know, or something about you because it's Aries, right? So Mars being in the first house is bringing a lot of focus and passion to oneself, right? So this is kind of like you being reminded to be passionate about yourself in the past, and now you're back on that, but it does cause some, you know, challenges because we're dealing with hidden things, you know, with the Lord, because the Emperor is withholding information, right? And the Eight of Pentacles is also kind of like staying busy, right? You know, anyway, I don't know what that's about. So the Ace of Cups, being in the sun position, great. So definitely focus on yourself, do your strengths. What's gonna bring you more happiness, right? What's gonna show you joy and faith in your life, because the Wheel of Fortune is here. You know what I mean? You have to remember where you're coming from, and you have to be grateful for where you are now, based on all that you have gone through. You know what I mean? Okay. So a lot of these cards really do talk about like not giving up, right? In some kind of way. The Ace of Cups being here in the sun position is great because now you're receiving a new experience, right? You're giving into what's being offered to you because you know there's a new emotional experience that is going to teach you something. You're at the beginning of that. It's kind of like cusping energy. You know what I mean? So yeah. Acknowledge what you're receiving and how it could benefit you emotionally, right? And also acknowledge what in ways that you need to heal. Because it's talking about getting started, starting to heal, initiating that, right? The Ace of Cups is also talking about being aware of your emotions, okay? And being aware of your emotional triggers, right? And when you're aware of your emotions and your emotional triggers, that doesn't mean that you need to destroy them or you need to kind of like do away with them or kill them, because like the aces are related to Mars, right? Being that it rules the first house, ace number one, which is Mars and Pluto. And here you have the Lord, which is Mars, okay? And it's also Aries, mainly. Um, and it's a four, so it's, you know, emotions kind of like are initiated, and it's like, do I fight these emotions, you know, the Emperor, the Lord, and also Scorpio, do I fight these emotions, Pluto, Mars, or do I allow them to just kind of like flow through me? Am I going to like let it be impacted by this, and how am I changed by the impact of this, and as I let it go, you know? And letting it go is realizing how you've been changed or how you can heal from it. You know what I mean? It's great because it's like if you can't control it, then you realize what it is that you can control about the experience, right? Post the event or whatever it is. So then you're like, okay, so it's giving me really something to work on here. Sometimes you even need to just have like exercises that allow you to kind of like let yourself flow through the emotions, right? And you have to like meditate with things too, okay? You gotta let yourself think about what it is that's challenging you, right? That's making your vulnerabilities up for grabs. Okay. Ten of Wands, right? Because you've been through a lot emotionally. You know, it's been a long road here. You know, you feel like you're carrying a lot of weight. You know, there's a lot of past actions and things like that. You've just been through a lot. You've covered a lot of ground. You've covered a lot of land, airspace, whatever it is. But you've been through a lot. You've been traveling, perhaps, or the experience that you've gone through feels like you've been taken along, around, and about. You know what I mean? Maybe even by people in terms of work. Okay. And also, it's like I had plans. I have goals, and I have things that I want to achieve, and it's kind of like maybe you need to get your mind straight, right? What's your mindset right now? Maybe you're in a negative mindset just because of like the challenges that you have faced, right? And it's like you're being asked to slow down too, you know? you're being asked to slow down because like your emotions are being affected or you're neglecting some aspect of your emotions, right? Because you're like kind of like not dealing with something. And this is Saturn in Sagittarius, and Saturn is not getting emotional about anything. The Sagittarius is kind of like not really. It can get like excitable, right? That type of thing. Very like passionate, right? But, you know, you've got to admit something to yourself here. Like, can I continue doing it this way? Right? Whatever that is. And you also have to give yourself credit for how far you've come. You know what I mean? And now it's a little bit harder. You know what I mean? Now it's a little bit harder. So it's kind of like, oh, I needed to save my energy. I need to conserve my energy. Okay, let's look at your anxieties, right? Seven of Swords. Perfect. That's where it should be. So this is kind of like hidden communication, right? Unclear communication, you know? Hidden details, right? Trying to read between the lines, you know? The anxieties of trying to read between the lines, you know? Yeah, definitely moving, it's movement happening, and it's change. It's being challenged by change. You're being tested by change, and you're being tested to see if you can deal with this new way of relating to your experience, right? Because something you've detached from something and you're trying to reconnect with that which you have detached from, but now there's a new commitment here. You know, you're having to commit to something, you know? Because that's what the sevens are talking about: relating, relationships, marriage, also contracts and things like that. But then it's the Seven of Swords, so it's like in your mind how you're relating to this agreement or something like that. Or there's an agreement that's bringing you a little bit of mental stress, or there might be some kind of seesaw thing going on, right? It's like your emotions are affecting your mind, you know? You'd rather not be thinking about this. Or do you rather not have to admit something to yourself? Because the moon is your emotions, right? And it is what's motivating us too, right? For sure. That's why the Emperor is a four. Fourth house Cancer ruled by the moon. Okay, Seven of Swords, Chariot energy. Seven, Libra, seventh house, right? So emotions, feeling detached from something that may have brought some kind of pleasure before in the past, but like I said, the Saturns are teaching you how to emotionally detach from things, because the Seven of Swords is connected to the Ten of Swords. You know what I mean? Because they're both ruled by Saturn, so it's talking about, you know, karmic lessons and experiences in relationships, and also in yourself, and how your relationships reflect back to you what you need to learn, you know, to put things into a big picture perspective, you know. This is a valuable lesson as well, you know, with the Seven of Swords energy. I'm like, what was I burning? You know when you can tell like something goes out, like a candle goes out or something like that? Anyway, let's look at the Mars position here. You know, you could be confused by how you feel, right? Or you could just be like in a different place now. You know, there's a little bit of an emotional boundary, there's a little bit of a communication boundary as well with the Seven of Swords. Okay, so let's look at the Mars position. Yes, the Chariot. You know, that may be the scent of a particular energy. Ooh, child, what do I need to do? Should I burn some cinnamon? I'm doing it. Because I'm like, I don't see any of all the candles that I lit are like still burning, you know? And then I was like, did I light an incense and did it go out? But I don't remember. Like, what did I do? I'm pretty sure I just burned some Palo Santo. Look, recycled air is on. Maybe I need to open a window. Ciao. See, cinnamon is weird because it's like, anyway, let me not get distracted. Okay, so the chariot is here in your Mars position, so it's talking about moving forward. It has that energy of Jupiter and it has that energy of like Sagittarius and also kind of like Pisces because the chariot rules the nights, okay? So a situation is changing for you and you're having to like fully commit to it, right? Because it's the Seven of Swords. It's like, I don't know if I want to commit to this way of thinking now, this new way of thinking, this new perspective, this new landscape, this new mindset, right? And the chariot is like, no, do it, commit to it, right? Because it's like, you've learned a lot, you know, you have some valued wisdom, right? And it's kind of like, use that to kind of carry you through. It's not like you don't want to feel victimized by something. It's kind of like going straight towards whatever, you know, life has to offer you. You know, what's coming next. That's what it is, you know? Move that type of thing. Opportunity, right? That's such an overused word. But there is a tiny wheel here in this image which just kind of reflects that of the wheel of fortune in Sagittarius and night in Jupiter and the moon and Neptune. So it's like really allowing the energy to change and an energy shift, right? Not feeling stuck anymore, right? Not feeling closed off anymore, perhaps. Or you're taking what you've learned because the lovers came right before this, and that's kind of like Virgo, Mercury energy of learning lessons, you know, valuable lessons, you know. So now you're breaking away from old patterns, right? With the Chariot. And the Seven of Swords says that as well. So let's look at the Ten of Swords, right? Right. In the Venus position. This could be relationship, this could be a job, and this is definitely breaking away from old patterns. This is maturity too. This is having to let go of an old version of yourself. It's Sun and Gemini, and Sun and Gemini could be talking about siblings, cousins, or it could be something that has affected you for a long time, right? And it's now time to put something behind you or a new chapter, right? Because it's kind of like you could be thinking about the past and how it may have meant something to you then. And it's like trying to search for meaning in this time now that you are in. You know what I mean? And I go through that sometimes too because I'll be thinking about like my college years. And I'll be like, wow, when will I ever feel like that again? Or you know what I mean? Or like, not like that because I don't ever really like want to go back to college, right? So this is talking about not going back to. You know, and like I said, the Seven of Swords is related to the Ten of Swords, and then the Chariot came up, and then the Ten of Swords came up. Yeah, so you're moving on past something, some old way of thinking, you know, because this is definitely an old way of thinking, breaking free from that. You know what I mean? Right? I live. It's like, you're like, I've learned my lesson. Now I feel like I can move forward, for sure. And you have the Wheel of Fortune supporting the Ten of Swords here, as well as like the Chariot. And you have the Chariot supporting the Seven of Swords. Okay, so let's look at your energy moving forward. Queen of Wands, right. This is related to the Three of Wands too, you know, because it's kind of like realizing your potential, you know, and owning that potential and using it to kind of like get you things that you know you deserve. Because no one is going to bring you anything, you know, you have to kind of like go get it, you know. Exactly. And the Queen of Wands is Aries. It's 1/3 Pisces, right? So it's kind of like what's blocked is like the creativity might be blocked. You know, you could be feeling like that. You could be waiting for like something to grow or something to get better or something to feel like it's spark or it's fire again. You know, because the Queen of Wands is related to the Three of Wands. And the Three of Wands is like, okay, I've done this, so now what's going to happen? I've done it. You know what I mean? It's saying that, like, you can do more than one thing at a time here. You know what I mean? So that you take your mind off of something that you've already put some energy into and initiated here, right? And then it's like, while that's cooking or baking, you do something else. You know what I mean? Like, always try to keep yourself busy here with the Queen of Wands as well. But busy within your environment. It's not like trying to overdo it, you know, or outdo yourself. It's just trying to keep yourself moderately busy, you know? And that's why the Eight of Pentacles came up too here. Okay. So now let's look at what your future is, right? Two of Cups, so that's really great. It's Venus in Cancer, so this is talking about the pleasure, the harmony, the beauty in nurturing, nourishing parts of yourself. Your inner child needs to be nurtured continuously, you know? You've got to give some value to creativity. You have to give some value to, like, discovering new things in your life, or just kind of like celebrating, like, you know, different facets, right? Sometimes life gets very mundane, or, you know, you need to try to do something that you haven't done in a while, right? You know, your vulnerabilities as well. You know, allow yourself to be vulnerable sometimes. The Two of Cups does also talk about relationships, right? You have to allow yourself to be vulnerable in order to receive. How is anyone going to talk to you? You know, how are you going to talk to anyone? How are you going to receive love? You know, like that type of thing. If some of you are searching for, like, a relationship out there, or you're trying to figure out if a relationship is going to work out, does it seem like it wants to work out? You know? Because two people coming together are creating another energy, you know, and that energy might be like oil and water, you know? I don't know. But the Two of Cups is definitely like trusting in, you know, love, believing in love, right? It's Venus in Cancer. That's where Venus just was now. It's in Leo, but the power of love. It's also there, like, you know, surprises and things being revealed. You know, that's why I said on life, I don't want you to feel like life is getting mundane, you know, the struggles in life, like that type of thing. I just feel like maybe there'll be a new sense of hope for some of you in terms of, like, feeling better, because that's what the Two of Cups kind of like brings in, right? And this might improve your relationship with your mother, or maybe you have an improved relationship with someone, a sibling, a mother, um, or your partner. I don't know. Mm-hmm. At the top, you have the Six of Swords. So it's definitely improvements because it's a six and it's related to Virgo, the sixth house, right? And then it's Aquarius, so it's Mercury too. So it's Mercury exalted in the older air sign. So it's kind of like thinking in a more mature way, you know, and being innovative as well, right? So your level of mature thinking now is allowing you to be more innovative, right? In terms of, well, like, what you're willing to explore and what you're willing to kind of, like, you know, try. Six of Swords is trying new things. That's what being innovative is, trying new things. You know what I mean? So you need to allow yourself to also make new friends too, because that's what the Six of Swords is talking about. Because when you make new friends, you try new things, you know. Or you need to allow yourself to do something that, you know, is different. You know, not doing the same old thing all the time, right? Because you'll become dissatisfied with the same old thing. And that's what, you know, yeah. The fives are always talking about that kind of stuff, you know? When our bodies now become. Yeah, but you definitely have some changes happening. Don't resist the changes, you know, because they are showing you the way. I'm gonna pull an animal oracle card for you. I'm gonna put a 3 stack down, and then I'm gonna either choose the first, second, or third. I think I'm being told to choose the first one. Do, 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 do. The cat. Right? Survival, you know? It's also intuition and it's endurance, okay? Right? The ability to go into a new situation. Also, not being afraid, you know? Not letting fear get the best of you, right? And it's also like intuition, being connected to something, you know? Being also very aware of the environment that you enter into, that type of thing. Consciously aware of something. Kind of like probing a little bit. Where's that book? I'm gonna read a little bit from the book. I have it behind me. All right, it's also strength, obviously, because it's a cat. Endurance, like I said. So let's see. Guardianship, detachment, and sensuality. So let's see. Page 54. I think I've had this deck for maybe like a month. I'm getting used to it. I don't really keep the book with me when I go out and read at work. I just kind of like intuitively pick up on it. But let's see. Cat brings us the ability to observe situations quietly without judgment before making decisions. Apparently asleep, but really listening, a cat can sit for hours until it acts with decisiveness. Remember the saying, a cat may look at a king. You have a right to know and to judge important issues for yourself in your own time. The cat unites an awareness of the spirit world with a highly developed sensuality. These two attributes are not polar opposites as dualistic spiritual teachings would have us believe, but are facets of one continuum of awareness and sensitivity. Working toward wholeness involves enhancing our appreciation of both the physical and non physical worlds. Right? All right. I think this is it for you, Gemini. Thank you so much. That was quick, 30 minutes. All right, work. All right, thank you so much. Like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram. It's Providence Tarot there. And my personal account is NYC Kendrick. Oh, thank you. All right, y'all. I'll see you later, okay? Thank you so much.